The Screen Team is back with our second half hour of the show, and this particular half hour, we are focusing on rock and roll documentaries. A little bit later on, we're going to be talking about the Eagles documentary. We're also going to be doing a documentary called It Might Get Loud, featuring The Edge, Jimmy Page, and also Jack White. But this first go-around is my all-time favorites, all right? What we're doing is a documentary on the band Pearl Jam. It's called Pearl Jam 20. And I brought some friends here to talk about this one, because if I were to do the review, it would be nothing but 5 stars, 2 thumbs up, the greatest documentary of all time. So I got some guys in here who can be a little bit more objective about the documentary. I've got Jake, I've got Kadam here in the studio. Guys, let's be honest, greatest rock and roll documentary of all time, correct?
Sure.
I like that.
Well, there you go. You're the host of the show, so we can't disagree. Anyway.
End of show. Let's move on. Let's talk about this. This documentary deals with the 20-year history of Pearl Jam. And it mainly focuses on the first 10 years, at least the majority of it does.
Yes.
And like the last maybe 30 minutes kind of deals with the last 10, because not too much happened in the last 10. But you guys know of Pearl Jam, but you guys aren't as big of fans as I am. What did you guys think? Did this documentary get you more interested in the band?
For me, yeah, it did. And I like the way this documentary opens up, because I'm just, like, in the first 15, 20 minutes, I'm like, I thought this was a documentary about Pearl Jam. Mm-hmm. Here's Chris Cornell and Mother Love Bone and all these other bands that essentially formed Pearl Jam, kind of out of other bands and other projects. So, I really, I guess, have a little more appreciation for Pearl Jam. I've had all the songs stuck in my head, especially songs that I'm just not as familiar with, some deeper album cuts that they played live a lot, and a lot of things that were featured in the documentary. And I think they picked the right director for this documentary, considering he was just kind of a friend of the band all along. So
yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool. It was really well done, and I like how it focuses on that first 10-year history, which really was when Pearl Jam ruled the world, I guess, if you want to call it that, or at least the alternative rock world.
Now, Kadam, I know that you're a closet fan of Pearl Jam, but you don't want to tell people. So you don't want to let people know that you're a fan. But what did you think about this documentary?
Honestly, I have a little bit more respect for him. I didn't know too much about him. I'm stuck in my 80s tight leather pants, long permed hair, and that kind of deal. But I have more respect for Pearl Jam. I do understand why you like them. Just climbing up on the rafters kind of thing kind of tense me up, because I don't like adrenaline at all.
That was a crazy scene, because they show Eddie Vedder. During the I guess the beginning of the band, he had an adrenaline rush for climbing the rafters. Yeah. Jumping off the rafters into a sea of people and doing like the crowd surfing thing, and he could have gotten seriously hurt doing that kind of stuff. It was amazing.
Put all of his faith in his crowds. I respect that.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't do it for nothing.
One of my favorite scenes in this, and Kadam, I was talking about this earlier, was the scene where they're talking with Stone Gossard. He's at his house, and they're like, show us what kind of Pearl Jam stuff you have. He's like, okay, let me see if I can find something here. And they go in the kitchen. He's like, oh, here's a Pearl Jam mug from Mexico, and it's got coffee stain in it. And then they walk downstairs or whatever, and in his basement, there's like no lights at all. I mean, if this guy's a multi-millionaire, you think he'd have some lights in his basement. And he's like, oh, there's a Grammy. It's all dusty and stuff like that. And that's the one thing about this band, is they care more about the music and the fans more than they do about the hype and the accolades that they get, and that's why I really respect them. Do you guys have any other favorite scenes from the particular documentary?
I like the hearing against Ticketmaster. I kind of like that, because you got this big bad rock band, but they're coming in there with like really serious, educated conversation against Ticketmaster. Several bands have tried to fight Ticketmaster, and I think Ticketmaster always wins, but
they're pretty big, man. They're
pretty big, but once again, supporting their fans. There's kids should be able to afford to get into a rock show to see their favorite band.
Yeah. One of the scenes I like is it kind of just barely kind of gets into the relationship with Eddie Vedder and Kurt Cobain. there was a little turbulence early on because Kurt Cobain thought that Pearl Jam was a bunch of sellouts, and he didn't really understand, and he would call him names and say, blah, 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 Pearl Jam is terrible. But I really liked the scene. I think it was one of the Video Music Awards that they were at, and you see Eddie Vedder and Kurt Cobain. They were slow dancing with each other. I thought that was a really cool insight. There was a lot of cool band videos and stuff behind the scenes that I really dug. And, Katem, you and I were talking that Eddie Vedder was a really shy kind of guy.
Yeah.
And then there was one moment where early on he just kind of snaps.
Just some drunk guy falls over the front rail and he just snaps. His face gets mad red and, the vein pops out.
Yeah.
And then Eddie Vedder was born.
Eddie Vedder was definitely born, man.
And you know what? Big voice for such a... he's a smaller guy than I thought he was. Now, there's a scene where I guess they're doing a kind of a Temple of the Dog show, and Chris Cornell and Eddie Vedder on stage, and they're kind of wrestling while they're singing on stage. I always thought Chris Cornell would have been the smaller of the two, but he's like, 6'2" or something like that. Eddie Vedder's tiny little guy.
What did you guys think of Mike McCready, the lead guitarist? They kind of show him kind of, doing his thing. Were you guys impressed with his playing?
A lot of emotion, straight out of the bat. A lot of emotion. You can tell. For some reason, I've noticed this about a lot of famous guitar players. They move their mouths when they solo. I don't know why. I feel like it's like a Tenacious D thing where they look at all the mags and you see the pick of destiny on each cover. I found the pick of destiny on each character.
Do you do that when you solo? Oh wait, you're a rhythm guitarist.
It's okay. I'll leave now. Thanks. Appreciate it.
I'm a huge fan of this documentary. I love Cameron Crowe. They've always had a huge relationship, very close to together. Cameron Crowe had Pearl Jam in his film Singles, and they've just always been very, very close. And I think this is a great documentary. If you don't know a lot about Pearl Jam, definitely check it out. I think you're definitely going to like it. And do you guys recommend it to music lovers out there?
Yeah.
Oh, I do. If you want to see a good rock and roll documentary, and one that it has drama, but not like not like Metallica documentary drama. So,
right.
Not a bunch of big rock stars crying at each other. So
yeah,
it's definitely really cool. I would check it out.
All right. It's called Pearl Jam 20, and you can check it out on DVD. Coming up after the break, these two guys will be talking about the documentary It Might Get Loud. We'll do that next on Today's Talk, KWOC.